Welcome back to Coach's Corner East on this Wednesday night, the 3rd of November. We're at the Pizza Hut here in Galion, and it's the Col Crawford portion of tonight's show. We're brought to you in part by Steve and Chuck Keller at Keller Auto Parts, your Napa dealer, Uptown Galion and Crestline. Marie Mounts at the Platinum Insurance Agency, your Progressive agent, 131 Harding Way East in Uptown Galion. Joe Klein and Associates at the Galion office of First Federal Bank of Ohio. And welcome to the microphone this evening, head football coach at Col Crawford High School. It's Ryan Teglovic. Coach Teg, great to have you back, and good to see you.
Yeah, thanks again for having us.
Week 11, and first round of the playoffs, you got to be home. And first and foremost, you guys all dried out finally, or you get everything dried and good to go?
Warmed up.
Wasn't a very great night weather-wise, but as was customary for most of the weeks during the regular season, it was another big Col Crawford win as you defeated Oregon Cardinal Stritch in the first round of the playoffs, 50-0, which has been kind of that separation that you've seen most of the year. You're now 10-1 overall. It's your third shutout of the season, 3 in the last 4 games. And normally we talked a lot about Lincoln Mollenkopf, who's sitting right across from me, and we will be talking about him. But it was your other running back, Matt Kleinert, that really opened the scoring on the first drive with an 8-yard TD run. And then Lincoln got his first TD of the night with 55 seconds left in the first quarter. And he ended the night with 190 yards and 4 TDs. Your quarterback, Cameron Lohr, 90 yards passing. Carter Valentine, 62 yards receiving. And but really, as you've talked all year, Coach DeGray, Coach Bruno have talked all year, starts up front with the big guys too, and we have a couple of them here tonight. When you look back at the film, you look back at the performance, overall, how did you feel about it in the first week of the playoffs?
I felt pretty good. I felt like it was a good showing on all 3 phases, offense, defense, special teams. Obviously some things that we do need to work on. We need to, I felt like our kick coverage, we got a little lax later in the game on that in particular, just some other minor things that we can continue to work at that we looked at in film on Monday, we're going to continue to work to get better this week. Obviously, going to have to get a big challenge this Saturday against Crestview.
When you had previewed Stritch and you saw what they were on film, anything surprise you on Saturday that, wow, we didn't expect that? Or, I mean, couldn't have been too much because you shut them out. Were they pretty much as what you saw on film?
Yeah, I thought so. I thought our guys did a good job executing the game plan, both sides of the ball. We thought we could run off tackle, and we were able to run off tackle very effectively. We also were able to hit. I mean, we were very efficient in the passing game. We were 3 of 3, 90 yards, and one of those was a touchdown. So, very efficient there, and we thought we could run the football. We were able to run the football, and we were able to shut them down defensively as well. I think they ended up with about 80 yards total offense there. So, really felt like it was a good performance on that side of the football as well.
We talked all season of the things that you do well as a team, which is control the line of scrimmage, to some extent control the clock, although you've had some pretty short drives because you've had long touchdown runs or passes, things along that lines, but as well as running the ball. And we knew that going into the late portion of the season as well as the postseason, those kind of things are going to help you as the weather deteriorates. Certainly you experienced that Saturday night, albeit there were some fumbles, some slippery balls, things like that. Overall, ball security, did you think, despite the elements, you did pretty well?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I think we had one fumbled snap, which, if you look back at our Bucyrus game, I think we had about 7 or 8 in the rain, in mud there. So, and I felt like the field conditions overall were probably worse this last Saturday, just the field just getting tore up and sloppy. And to be able to go through that with only having the one mishandled snap, we did, we remarked on that in film the other day. I felt like that was an improvement. I mean, we had one fumble we recovered, and then the younger guys lost one later in the game. But I felt overall ball security for the elements was very good.
Parker Ketterman chipped in on the scoring as well, got a tackle for a safety, and then a TD pass from Lohr to Valentine, as you mentioned. 2 more Mollenkopf TD runs made it 36-0 at half. Again, that's a running clock going into the second half. Lincoln got another TD in the second half, as did Tanner Dyer, and that ended the scoring. And it ended the game with freshman Lucas Foy capped the shutout with an interception to end the game. So once again, in a playoff now environment, you got young kids in, that's got to be beneficial.
Yeah, it is, and I'm not sure we got everybody in, but we came close, and it was nice. We got the young guys at least a drive and a half. They were able to get a score in. Good to see that, and then to see the young guy defense on the field at the end of the game preserving a shutout, and Lucas with the interception. Nice to get those guys that experience under the lights, and like you said, under the lights in a playoff game.
Just over 4,800 yards on the season. That's 441 yards per game offense. 3,726 rushing, 1,122 passing, and you've only given up just about 2,100 yards, which is 190 per game, 739 rush, and over 1,000, 1,355 through the air. Averaging right at 50, 49.9, and giving up only 11.7. And so the offense continues to produce, the defense continues to do their job. You got a great kicker that's making all the extra points and PATs and field goals. We've got to just be happy with the whole body of work.
Yeah, the whole body of work has been excellent this year. I mean, our kids have really bought in. They've played hard. They've continued to get better throughout the year. So we're very pleased where we're at right now. Obviously, it's a really big game coming up for us this week.
Yeah.
We know we're gonna see the fourth-rated team in the state, fourth-ranked team in the state, and so our guys, I feel like they've had a pretty good week of practice thus far, and we just got to continue to do that this week, and we've got a great opportunity on Saturday night.
Very good. Take a break here before we talk to the young men around the table. Our show is brought to you in part by Steve and Chuck Keller at Keller Auto Parts, your Napa dealer, Uptown, Galleon, and Crestline. Marie Mounts at the Platinum Insurance Agency, your Progressive Agent, 131 Harding Way East, Uptown, Galleon. And Joe Klein and Associates at the Galleon office of First Federal Bank of Ohio. First up, Lincoln Mollenkopf, and first and foremost, young man, congratulations on setting the record. That was for yards and TDs, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And again, I've mentioned it a couple times this year. You think about a guy like Tristan Cross that graduated last year, and you look at the things he did, and you came back and bested pretty much all of that. That's quite impressive. So congratulations on that. Big win. Your last home game officially,
Yep.
Because you're going to be on the road, and any game moving on forward, it's done. Was it kind of, even though it was sloppy and muddy and cold and wet and rainy, was it kind of surreal when you stepped off the field the very last time to say, my career at Gary Field is over?
Yeah, I'd say it was, but then again, you got to look into it as we still got another game to play and another game to win, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. So that one's in the past. It was a big win. You had a lot of rushing yards, things along that lines, just under 200. And now you're going to go on the road to Ashland Crestview, a team that won their conference, undefeated, as Coach said, 4th in the state, number 2 seed in the region, and a team that, and we'll talk to Coach about that, is very similar. It's like looking in a mirror. They would rather run the ball than pass the ball. They have athletes that are playing on both sides of the ball. When you've watched film and you've prepared for them this week, what have you seen out of the Cougars?
Yeah, they're really put together team, and they really play hard, and I'd say that's the biggest thing that they do really well is they play hard all game, and we got to be able to match that.
Defensively, because you're going to be running the ball, what is their line like, and their linebackers specifically?
Oh, they run a 3-man front, and they get off the ball really quick, and their linebackers read pretty well at what their linemen do. So it'll be interesting to see.
Are they really big, or
No, they're pretty small. They're not small, but they're average size, but they're really quick.
So when you've seen that, and you've not played them yet, but you've watched them on film, how do they compare to Cary's defense, the only team that shut you guys down in the second half?
I mean, I think they're not very comparable just because Cary's a lot bigger than most teams, and they're just a lot faster than most lines that we've probably seen so far. This is probably the quickest line we've seen, so
Okay.
We'll see how we go against that.
All right, very good. Well, good luck to you. Hopefully we can talk about a week 12
Yep.
coming up. Thanks
All right,
so
thank
much. Next up, we have Colin Spangler is here, and thanks for coming out tonight. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Another big win, and the records just seem to keep shattering. The light bulbs just keep flickering on the scoreboard. When I thought, okay, we're going to have some rain, it might not be a wide margin, and then I see 50-0. I'm like, I felt really good that you would be able to beat Stritch, and then when I saw 50-0, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Here we go again. It's just like a regular season game. Did the intensity, being the fact that it was a playoff game, when you got out there, did you feel it ramped up a little bit?
A little bit, but all throughout the season we were all ramped up seeing the scores like they were throughout the season, and then this game we were ramped up just as much as the other games.
Mm-hmm. So there were a lot of games where you maybe only played a half and you got a lot of young kids in, which we talked about. That's what builds a program. We've talked about that over and over again. Now as you get deeper in the playoffs, the likelihood that that's going to happen is probably diminished. Physically, are you and the rest of your team ready to go a full 48?
Yeah. In the years past, the coaches haven't had us lifting in the playoffs, but this year, Coach Shea has had us lifting Monday and Tuesday, and I think it's going to help us a lot this game, especially.
Your health, are you in good shape right now,
Yes.
other than normal bumps and bruises and things like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel really good. All right, very good. Well, good luck to you. Thanks for coming out tonight, and continued success for you.
Thank you.
You bet. One of the linemen is here, Mr. Smith. Tahj Smith is here. It's good to have you back, and congratulations on your first win. Now going on the road with a different opponent, a very formidable opponent. And Lincoln talked about their defensive line being quick. And do you see the same out of their offensive line?
Oh yeah, their offensive line, just like Lincoln said, they're not big, but they're really quick though. So we gotta be fast off the ball. And if we're not, then they're just gonna beat us, and we're gonna have a struggle all night.
So when you look at those lines and being quick lines like that, what is the biggest thing that your interior line coaches have stressed to you this week? Is it footwork? Is it technique to be able to engage in the block and stay on that block?
Footwork, technique, all getting off the ball, all of it. We just gotta do all of it with these guys because they're good.
Yeah, for sure. Where do you think you can take advantage from your position against them?
I'm bigger than them, and I'm able to get off the ball fast enough. So I think I'll be able to get them. We'll be able to get them.
Very good. Well, wish you good luck. Thanks for coming out. I appreciate it. And Nick Teglovic is here as well, and congratulations on your first playoff win. And unlike last year, where you were home the entire playoffs, now you got to go on the road. Does that take a different perspective, a different mindset that, we're going to be kind of the the ones that are having to get on a bus, go to an unfamiliar place, albeit a nice stadium because it is AstroTurf, so it's going to be really, really nice to play on that. You don't have to worry about mud and things like that. But now you're kind of that enemy coming in from a distance. Does that play into this any differently?
I mean, a little bit. It's always nice just to play at home because your home crowd and your locker room. But I mean, we've traveled before and we've won games as we travel. So I mean, it's not that much of a difference.
Not that big of a deal, okay. And I think, really, as we get deeper into the playoffs, there's a lot of people that may not be associated with either school that just want to go see a great football game, so your crowds get bigger, they get louder.
Yes.
Do you enjoy that, or does that bother you a little bit?
No, I mean, I enjoy it. I mean, not that I really notice it all that much because I'm playing football.
Right.
That's all I'm really worried about. But I mean, it is nice to have a little bigger crowd.
When you watch them on film, Crestview, do you have more concerns about them offensively or what they do defensively? Because they don't give up a lot of points and they score a lot. What concerns you more as a lineman?
Their defense, just because it's a defense we haven't really seen before, and so I mean, it's nothing that we can't handle. So,
Will they send blitzes from different places a lot, or not so much? Run blitzes, things like that?
occasionally, not much.
Okay, very good. Well, good luck to you. Enjoy the experience. Fast track for Lincoln and also you guys, you got some quick linemen as well, so you're going to have a fast track with the new turf over there. Very good. Thanks for coming out. I appreciate it. We'll take a break here before we talk to Coach Tegg about the Crestview Cougars coming up. We're brought to you by the Burkhart family at the Burkhart Farm Center at Case IH Dealer Street, west of Gallion on the Manette New Winchester Road. Mike Kleinite at Ag Credit Residential Lending, Bucyrus, Mount Gilead, Marion. Sweet Baby Ray Jones, Davey's little brother at Ohio Door and Sash, 120 South Street in Gallion. And as we've talked about, Coach, it's Ashland Crestview on the docket this week. They are the number 2 seed in your region. They defeated Northwood out of the Toledo area, kind of a cousin to Cardinal Stritch. They're 2.3 miles apart, but they came this way, and Crestview took care of them 42-7 in the first round of the playoffs. 11-0 overall. They're the Firelands Conference champ. They beat Norwalk St. Paul late in the year to win that. Coach is Steve Haverdale. Do you know Steve personally?
Yes.
Okay. He's not been there all that long, correct?
I'm gonna say 3-4 years.
Okay.
Head coach.
So they're averaging about 39 points a game, giving up only 10.1, so very similar to you, maybe not scoring as much, but giving up about the same as you are. They have 2 shutouts this year, and they've only given up just 1 score in 4 other games, and When you look at, and I'm kind of a statistical guy, as you know, as you talked to me over the years, when you look at their, I guess I would call it strength of the schedule, the teams that they have played are an overall 53-59. Yours is 45-64. You know, we could argue all day whether the Firelands Conference is stronger than the N10 and non-league and all that thing. Does that even play anything into it, or that's just for guys like me that are kind of statistical geeks?
Yeah, I don't think it plays a whole lot into it. I think, like I've said before, in playoffs at this point are about matchups. You're going to have two good football teams out there on Friday night, and we're not playing against our schedule. They're not playing against their schedule. We're playing against them. They're playing against us, and it's going to be who executes better Friday night, who plays harder, who doesn't turn the football over, those kind of things that will decide who's going to win this game.
Quarterback Hayden Kuhn, 75 of 108 passing this year for 1,408 yards, 17 TDs, and just one interception. Running back Connor Morris has rushed 253 times for 1,703 yards. That's 6.7 yards per carry, a little less than Lincoln here, which is closer to 10 or just over 10. 31 touchdowns, and running back Wade Bolin, 488 yards and 3 TDs. When you look at them on film, what do they really stand out to you offensively?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the running back is very solid. I mean, he's 1,700-yard back, and so when you have a 1,700-yard back, obviously the guys up front are doing their job, and I think they're very, very similar to us offensively, especially. Not only are they good in the running game, but they're very efficient in the passing game. The quarterback's numbers are very similar to our quarterback's numbers. You know, he's 17-1, and Cam is like 13-1 in regards to touchdowns to interceptions. They've got a couple hundred more yards passing than what we have, and we've got a few more yards rushing than what they have. So it's a real similar kind of field. Both sides are, especially on the offensive side, a little bit different defensively, but they're very good and they execute very well offensively.
We only allowed 164.4 yards per game defensively, 98 rushing and 66 passing. They forced 14 turnovers total, 9 interceptions, 5 fumble recoveries, and they have 30 sacks. So they do get after the quarterback. They're only surrendering 29% on third down efficiency, 10% on fourth down. And Connor Morris, the guy that's running the ball, also is their leading tackler, 113 total tackles. And just like you, they have a really good kicker as well. 2 for 4 in field goals, but 53 of 56 PAT. So again, when I have not seen any film on them or anything like that, but just looking at numbers, it's almost like looking in the mirror.
Sure, yeah, very similar numbers-wise, very similar in a lot of ways. Defensively, I mean, we're quite a bit different. I mean, we're a 4-2-5 defensively, and they're more of a 3-3 stack, and it's a little bit different 3-3 stack than what we've seen a whole lot of. Their outside linebackers are really stacked hard and tight over top their defensive ends, and you talked about number 3, leading them in tackles as well. I mean, he plays free safety for them, and he's pretty well out of his responsibilities in regards to pass responsibilities. He's allowed to just kind of freelance and he's got a free run to play the run game, and he does an excellent job of it. So, we've got to account for him in the run game. We've got to make sure that we block our rules and get off the football. I mean, we've got to use our size a little bit to our advantage. They're not as big as what we've seen, but they're very quick and very, very good getting off the football.
I watched the Browns game, unfortunately, on Sunday against the Steelers. And all the Steelers fans are probably loving that. And they did something, they kind of sold out for the run and said, you're going to beat us. It's going to be Baker and the receivers, which they weren't able to do. As you move on to the playoffs, and everybody knows, watching film, looking at statistics, you're a run-first team. If Crestview or any other team were to stack the box and say, if you want to beat us, you're going to have to throw, because even though you've thrown for over 1,000, that's not your bread and butter. Offensively, you're prepared to respond to that in that moment?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's other ways around it too. There's other ways to scheme the box to get guys in and out of the box, or get guys in the box in the position that you want, where you can still run a football. we've seen a lot of, and these guys would tell you, we've seen a lot of 9-man boxes lately where we've been able to run a football against the 9-man box in these rainy nights in particular, where we really don't want to run a football, and or we really don't want to, pass the football, and we want to run regardless. We've been able to run the ball against some 9-man boxes, but. Absolutely. I mean, if they're gonna get safeties in there and those kind of things, we've got to, not only do we have to throw the football, but we've got a formation, and I think we can do that. We've got guys on the edge that can catch the football. We got guys on the edge that can stretch the field and do those kind of things. So yeah, I think that if they do want to stack in there and we get man-to-man matchups on the edge, we'll take advantage of those.
Very good. If you would be fortunate to win this Saturday, you would get the winner of Cary, the 3 seed, and Sonora, the 6 seed, at a neutral site, and we'll worry about that on down the road, but it will certainly be interesting to say the least. Good luck this week on the road at Crestview. Great environment, and just enjoy it.
Yeah, thank you. Should be a good game.
Appreciate you coming out. We're going to take a break here. We'll be back with the Crestline Bulldog cheerleading staff right after this timeout.